Hey everybody, this is Valencia and welcome to my channel Balloons in Business, where I show you the business of balloon and event decor. So I know it's been a while since I've done any one-on-one videos, and there's a reason for that. I've really been focusing on building up my inventory for my business. I just acquired some tables and chairs, so now I'm going to be doing table and chair rentals in addition to linens, and I also got some chargers and some things like that. So I'm trying to, expand my business, increase it a little bit. What I'm going to talk about today, which is pricing. Now, I have done a pricing video before. If you want to check it out, that's the thumbnail. If you want to look through my videos, if not, I do have a link that I'm going to pin on top of my comments underneath this video. But I am going to do an updated version. It's not going to be too much more different than the one I already did, but I know a lot of people ask about this. So either they're not seeing it in my videos, so I'm going to make a new one, so this will pop up as a more current video. I follow a lot of Facebook groups in regards to balloon designers, and that's like the biggest question that new balloon designers are always asking: how much would you guys charge? So I want to talk about that, and I have made some changes to how I price my stuff, and it's in response to the market, at least the market that I'm in. So I'm just going to talk about that right now. So I use a 4-point pricing structure, as I've mentioned before in my previous pricing video. And the first point, which I believe is the most important point, is how much money do I want to make for myself? My number one rule here with making pricing is that you always want to price for profit. Okay. If after you do the job and you consider all the expenses and everything, if you're not left with any money for yourself, then you need to price higher than what you're pricing, because otherwise you're just working for free, right? So you always want to price for profit, okay? Now, how much profit you want, that depends on your goals. Are you trying to go full-time and pay all your bills, or is this just a part-time gig and you're trying to make extra money? That's going to be up to you. But how I like to do it is I like to start with an hourly rate that I want to pay myself. In the past, it was $75 an hour, but I have since adjusted it to the market. It is now $50 an hour. And then I like to calculate how many hours does it take to do a standard job. Let's say I had to do a setup like this for somebody's party, okay? Now I'm going to not only consider how long it takes for me to set up at the actual party, but how long did it take for me to prep before I even got to that party? How long did it take for me to purchase all the items that I need to purchase? How long did it take for me to make my balloon garland base and to blow up all of my balloon clusters that I add later on to the event to make the balloon garland fuller? How long did it take for me to pack everything and put it into the car? How long did it take for me to set up, like to actually get out of the car, take everything out, unpack, and then set up everything? And then make the balloon garland, make it full, make it thick, design it, spray it with the balloon shine. And then how long does it take for me to come back and actually break everything down? So after I calculate all those different portions of the job, I figure that on average, it takes me about 4 hours total from beginning to end for this setup. Okay. So let's say I take my $50 an hour plus I multiply it by 4 hours. That equals $200. So that's how much money I'm going to pocket for myself for my work. That's what I deem is fair for me and what is okay for me. For you, it may be different. So that's up to you to decide. Okay. So that's the number one part. The second part to my pricing strategy is materials costs. And you have 3 portions of that. You have the materials that you're using for that event only, right? And you're going to charge the customer full price for that because they can keep those materials. That's going to be like the balloons to the balloon garland, any type of like character cutouts. I like personally, charge them the full price. And if they want the cutouts, they can have them. And if the signage is like only good enough for one event, like a cardstock signage or something like that, that can easily tear up and, use for that one event. Or if somebody wants a specially made sign that has like their name on it or something specifically for them where I had to pay a lot of money to have it custom made, then I charge that as a full price to the client and they can keep that. Okay. So those are the cost of items that the client keeps and you charge full price. The second list of expenses or costs are your rentals. So these are items that you're keeping. So with rentals, you want to charge about 50% of what you paid for it. So for this stand, this is a metal frame stand, and it's a heavy duty metal frame stand with a cover over it. Okay. So for the stand, let's say I paid $70 for it. I charge 50%. That's $35 to rent this stand. So I charge $30 for the cover plus $35 for the stand, which equals 65 bucks. Okay. And that would be the rental in that case. If you had a shimmer wall and it cost you $300 to get all of the panels for the size of the wall that you have, plus $200 to buy a heavy duty stand, you get what I'm saying? Then, 3 plus 200 is 500. If you charge at 50%, that's $250 to rent that out. Okay. So that's how I do my rentals. The next type of expense are supplies. These are things that you can use for more than one event, but eventually is going to run out, like Mega Shine, fishing line, glue dashes, the backdrop clips and clamps, which get lost all the time, safety pins, things of that nature. You're going to go ahead on and just charge just a small little fee to cover those things, because you need to replace them, like $5 or $10. So those are the 3 types of expenses. So you add all of those together, and that gets your cost of materials, right? The third point of my pricing strategy is my overhead costs. These are monthly costs that have to do specifically with my business. So for me, U-Haul rental fees, my website fees, Cricut Design Space, HoneyBook, if you use HoneyBook to help with, your invoices and your contracts and stuff like that, to streamline your whole business process. You got to put all of those overhead costs into that equation, right? So you want to add them all together. Now, what I did in the past was I added them all together and I divided them by 8, because my assumption is that I was aiming for 2 clients per weekend, which was 8 clients a month. And that would be, my fee that I would tack on to the price. But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm actually just doing 10% of my personal cost, how much I want to pay me, plus my materials cost. So I'm adding the first 2 parts of my pricing strategy together, and then I'm multiplying it by 10. And then I add that 10% back onto the price, and that's going to cover my overhead costs. And that's how I'm going to do it for each and every event. That's how I'm applying my overhead costs. So let's say I'm personally paying myself $200 for this job. And let's say it costs me about $150 in materials costs. So that's my first point and my second point, right? So I'm going to add that together, $350, right? Then I'm going to multiply it by 10, which is going to equal $35. That's my overhead cost. Now I'm going to add it back on to the $350 for a total of $385. Hopefully you guys understand that. The fourth part and the last part of my pricing strategy is travel. You got to charge for traveling to people's houses. I still use 50 cents a mile, and I account for going back and forth and back and forth. So for this, let's say the event was 20 miles away. So that's $40. If you want to, you don't have to price the amount it takes to go back home. You can just price $10 to go down there and $10 to go back to go pick up your stuff for 20 bucks. It's up to you to decide how you want to do that. You can also price a set fee up to a certain mileage. So anybody who lives within 25 miles of you, automatically a $40 fee. Or anybody that lives in the same city as you, they're free. It's all up to you to decide. So adding up all my pricing points together, so that's a total of $425. So that's how much I'm going to charge for this setup. All right. So depending on your market, this may be too little or too much, and you're going to have to adjust it accordingly. Another pricing method in which balloon designers use is the per foot method. So basically they'll take a cluster like this, and this is 4 11-inch balloons, or they may take a cluster like this. This is 4 balloons, 2 11-inch and 2 16 or 18-inch balloons, okay? And for every one of those clusters that they use, they will charge a fee for every cluster. So let's just say that for this setup, hypothetically, I used 14 clusters to make this balloon garland, and I was charging $25 per foot. Then that will come out to a total of $350. Then I would charge for my rentals. So we've already established that my share wall and cover rental was $65, and then the happy birthday sign rental will be $25 for a total of $90. You add 90 to the 350, that comes out to $440 so far. Then a lot of times when people do the per foot method, they also charge a setup fee, and the setup fee can range from $40 to $100 depending on how many people are actually helping to set up the arrangement. So let's say it's $40. We add $40 to the $440, and now it's $480. Then when we add in the travel fee, which we've already established as $40, it comes out to a total of $520 for this setup. Now it's up to you to decide if you want to use that method. If the market allows for you to charge that extra $100 and make, more profit, then go ahead on and do that. So it's all up to you to decide which method you want to use. So hopefully this video was able to help you guys out. I'm going to try to produce some more videos, but this is the season to get out there, get that work, make that money, and just best wishes for everybody that's trying to do this. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, go ahead on and like it, and please subscribe, and you'll get notifications on future videos on Balloon and Event Decor. And until next time, I will see you guys later.